I must start up front by especially thanking our brilliant IT team led by Amanda and Bobby and Reese Martin, and of course the wonderful team at RI at RDU led by Gay Kittle. They've all done a marvellous job in trying to get this together. A great welcome to our governors and of course the Rotary senior leaders here tonight. My name is Bob Aitken and I'm the End Polio Now coordinator for Zone 8. Which of course includes Australia, New Zealand and the near islands of our Pacific. It's a pleasure to be with you and introduce this unique End Polio Now fundraising concept for members of Rotary and also for normal citizens who have not had the opportunity to personally donate to this great cause. Recent stats from RI reveal that only 9% of Rotarians have ever made a personal gift to this great project. This is unbelievable and quite unacceptable, so we're striving to do something about it tonight. One of our innovative Rotary International leaders in the USA came up with the idea of a Zoom or virtual dinner to share the latest polio update with our membership. At the same time, we recognise the fact that most clubs have been meeting via Zoom in recent months, and members have not had the normal Rotary meal cost. So we offer this opportunity to take part in a real live Rotary meeting and donate the cost of what would have been your meal, as we set out on that attached flyer menu using the very convenient direct deposit process, which is also on the flyer. We urge our governors, as Amanda said, to share this meeting process to all clubs and urge their involvement. We could all make history. Just imagine, whilst it might be unlikely, if all districts encouraged all clubs to take part, there could be 20 or 30,000 Rotarians involved by the end of the month. But the most enjoyable Rotary meetings, of course, feature quality guest speakers. And do we have a lineup for you this evening? RI past President Bill Boyd will set the scene with an update on the latest figures and information, of course, from Pakistan and Afghanistan, and discuss the impact of COVID-19 on our polio program. Then, of course, RI past President Ian Riseley intends to debunk the theory that Aussies and Kiwis don't personally contribute to the polio campaign and talk about the importance of partnerships in achieving our elusive End Polio Now goal. RI past Director Noel Trevaskis is here in person, and Noel intends to stress the importance of personal giving, large or small, and reckons he will not need more than 1 minute flat to convince you all. We are delighted to feature our region's first female RI Director-elect, Jessie Harman, as the final speaker. And Jessie will speak on her hopes for a polio-free world. Friends, we anticipate we will not need more than about 25 minutes, of course, to conclude, and after which you can ask questions. You then should purchase your meal at your chosen cost, and don't forget to pay the bill. Now, past President Bill Boyd, would you like to open the batting, please?
Thank you, Bob. I guess being first cab off the rank, it was logical that I should do a little bit of a census. So I'd like to take you back to the first case of polio vaccine delivered by Rotary officially. And it was in September 1979. And the person giving that dose was the then RI President Jim Bobar. It was in a schoolyard in the Philippines, a wet day. The baby wouldn't open its mouth. So there were the challenges that came, but eventually the mother persuaded the baby to, hopefully not hurtfully, and the drops were administered. And it was at that time that Jim felt a tug on his leg, and he looked down and there was a muddy little boy with a severely withered leg who looked up and said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rotary. She is my sister.
Mm.
And if you move forward to 1985, that was the year when the World Health Organization encouraged the World Health Assembly to accept polio eradication as an international project. Now, it was significant because World Health had basically denied the ability of Rotary to run an international immunization campaign. They said it wasn't possible for enthusiastic volunteers to do something when they hadn't had medical training. But World Health looked at what we did in the Philippines and acknowledged they were wrong. And the World Health Assembly set a target of the year 2000. Now, Rotarians were a little bit more realistic, and they set a date of 2005 so that we would achieve the result on our centenary or by our centenary. But there was an understanding by all that the first 99% was going to be hard, but that last 1% was going to be even harder. And of course, so it's proved, we still have wild polio virus in Pakistan and Afghanistan. The figures from Pakistan, and I always believe if you give figures, it's good to have a bit of paper because that gives you credibility. The figures from Pakistan are that as of last week, there had been 50 cases this year, as against a full year total of 147 last year. They may not too bad, but last week they found 20 Enviro samples with polio in them. In Afghanistan, the figures are 12 for this year to date and 29 for the whole of last year. So what does it cost us to get this far? Well, if we deal only with Rotary's contribution, Rotarians have contributed 2.14 billion American dollars. Now, for 1.2 million people, which is pretty much our steady figure, 2.14 billion American dollars. But there's been another cost. There's been a cost in human life. There have been about 200 polio workers who have been killed doing their polio work. For a while in Pakistan, it seemed to be the rite of initiation for a young Taliban soldier to go out and shoot a vaccination worker. So the Pakistani government said, okay, from here on in, we're going to have a policeman or a soldier giving security to every vaccination team. The very first day that came into effect, a policeman on duty was shot. And the last person that we know of to give their life was a young man with 3 children in Afghanistan who happened to be a bit too close to a hospital that the government pulverized because they believed it was treating Taliban wounded. So it's tough territory. It's hard work, and we must never forget people who have really made the sacrifice for our polio campaign. So what's the situation now? Well, the World Health Organization has stopped all immunizations against transmissible diseases, and that includes polio, it includes measles, and there are others. And the reason for doing this is that the focus has got to go on COVID-19. Now, one of the aims of our polio campaign was to set up health networks in countries that didn't have one. And we have been very successful in doing that, particularly in African countries. Well, now they've all gone to eradicating COVID-19. What's the effect on us? Well, there's certainly a cost involved, but it shows in small things like we've got vaccines in Pakistan that will expire if they're not used. There's a 24-hour radio hotline for people to report polio. Well, now they report COVID-19. We're not sure that every enviro sample will be able to be checked. And what I thought was an interesting example was that our surveillance activity is multi-tiered. And the first tier is that we have people who walk through the slums looking for children with acute flaccid paralysis. Well, now they're walking through looking for acute pulmonary symptoms. So we've gone back a step, but only a step. And it won't stop us in what we intend to do, provided that we can give the funding to enable the work to continue. And I think it's important to realise that we're not doing this for somebody over there. We're not doing a charitable act for another country. Because until polio is cleared, our children, Australia and New Zealand, are at risk. After polio had been cleared in Australia for several years, the Pakistani student arrived in Victoria carrying polio. And we've just got to be aware of that. We're not doing it just for somebody else. We want our children and children everywhere in the world to be able to ask their parents and their grandparents, what was polio? So my request will be the one that all of our speakers today will make. Let us step up and let's make our contribution to the eradication of polio. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you very much, Bill. Now, Past President Ian, are you ready to go?
Hello, friends. In his marketing for this event, the esteemed Bob Aitken said that you would be, and this is a quote, entertained by the presenters. So I took that as being a request that I should sing. Oh, Julia tells me that's not a really good idea. I can't imagine why. So instead, let me talk about Rotary's leading humanitarian priority, being the eradication of polio. Now, Bob did mention in his intro that only 9% of Rotarians make a personal contribution to Polio Plus. Friends, this shows the danger of letting a journalist loose with figures, because it only tells part of the story. Indeed, I occasionally hear people when I'm in Evanston who, frankly, denigrate our part of the world for poor personal giving to polio and in many ways to the Rotary Foundation itself. This ignores the fact that most down under Rotarians support the Rotary Foundation and polio via their club. And of course, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. It doesn't matter where the funds come from, as long as they come. We also contribute to polio eradication by taking part in National Immunisation Days, otherwise known as NIDS, advocating with political leaders, and so on. Having said that, we must ensure that we meet our giving goal to maximise our overall spending on polio. Rotary has a wonderful partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They're great philanthropists and supporters of polio eradication. And as you know, they have given us a challenge. Rotarians love a challenge. Each year, for every US dollar that we, Rotary, spends on polio eradication, up to a total of 50 million US dollars, they will give us a further 2 to spend, up to, therefore, $100 million. Now, even those non-accountants amongst us must agree that having someone treble your capacity to spend on polio eradication is a pretty sensational offer. Now, friends, we can't leave any of these funds on the table. This is a very important time for the polio campaign as we push towards the finish line. As Bill Boyd once said, we must lead the way. So how can we do that? We can make a personal contribution, tax deductible in Australia, and Bob Aitken has told you how to do that, and he'll keep on telling you how to do that. Just the cost of the meal at one of the in-person Rotary meetings that you're currently missing will help. Juliet and I have made a personal contribution to polio, and I invite you to join us. We can all be part of Rotary making a difference. And polio is also a great destination for district designated funds. So if your district has any DDF left over, think about sending it to polio. As Ravi Ravindran once said, be a gift to the world. But finally, let me say that this is a special time where we should be thinking about polio eradication. Because just a few days ago, at the fine age of 99, past RI President Sir Clem Renouf passed away in Queensland. Clem was the father of Polio Plus. It was his idea for Rotary to take on a humanitarian project of this scale, and he fought and argued to make it happen. It's enormously sad that Clem didn't live to see the end of polio. But having spoken to him about it over the years, I know he was pleased and proud of our progress in this huge challenge. And as Bill just said, we are this close. So Clem's theme in 1978-79, when he was president of Rotary International, was reach out. But instead, let me ask you to reach into your pockets and donate to Rotary's End Polio Now campaign, because we owe it to Sir Clem. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you very much, Ian. Absolutely first class. Now, friends, we need to turn to RI Past Director, Noel Trevaskis.
G'day, Bob. Thank you. I note the quote from Ian Riseley said, what you said, that you will be entertained. So I thought I would tell a cracker of a joke for everybody tonight to entertain people. But no, second thoughts, I won't do that. I think we have a great opportunity with this virtual dinner tonight to raise an extraordinary amount of money for Polio Plus. With the passing of Sir Clem Renouf this last week, who had the vision of a polio-free world, he was the inspiration behind the eradication of polio. Without him, it wouldn't have happened. What a great time and a great way to celebrate Sir Clem Renouf's legacy and vision by asking clubs, districts and individual Rotarians to support the End Polio Now program to remember Sir Clem Renouf. Rotarians across the zone haven't been able to attend physical meetings because of COVID-19. I think we should ask them to consider contributing some of the money that they have saved by not attending the physical Rotary meeting to the End Polio Now program, that they can make those contributions to that and still not really miss the money. At the same time, reminding them that for every dollar they contribute, it will be matched by Bill and Belinda Gates Foundation with $2. We in Australia and New Zealand have a great opportunity to make an overall sizable donation to end polio and in turn show how much we appreciate the vision and the inspiration of Sir Clem Renouf, and we can do this in his memory, that we can look back at this time and see what an incredible amount of money that we raised as a result of Clem's passing and as a tribute to him. We need to remember that only 9% of Rotarians give to the Rotary Foundation and 45% of districts. I ask that all the governors and Rotarians in these last 2 weeks of this year to impress on clubs and Rotarians the need for funds, but at the same time acknowledging Sir Clem Renouf and his vision for a polio-free world. This is our opportunity to show the world what we can do and our appreciation of Sir Clem Renouf as well. However, together we can reach out and make a difference in this world of ours. Thank you for having me as a part of this tonight.
Excellent, Noel. Thank you so much. I have to advise you were 1 minute 49. Now, our great delight to welcome Jessie Harman and pass the baton to her. Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, Bob, and it's lovely to be with you all this evening. I'm conscious that I'm the fourth speaker tonight, following three very distinguished speakers, each with a wonderful End Polio Now message, and I absolutely echo their sentiment about the importance of giving at this time. I can't help thinking if we were gathering in person tonight instead of Zoom, I think I'd be classified as the after dinner entertainment. And so all week I've been remembering some of the wonderful after dinner entertainment that I've enjoyed at Rotary events. And yet I can't do magic, and I certainly can't sing a note, and I've noticed none of our other speakers are willing to do it either. But I guess in the spirit of after dinner entertainment, I thought I would finish off the presentations by reading a brief poem. And I've entitled the poem, Polio Free World. I look forward to a polio-free world where no child lives with disability, or worse, doesn't live at all, where no family lives in fear of sending children out to play, where no village feels the panic of movement restricted, nor quarantines imposed. I look forward to a polio-free world where vaccine workers no longer put themselves at risk, where conflict and superstition close no more doors, where every child has access to vaccine. I look forward to a polio-free surveillance system second to none, of women in communities enabled and empowered, of partnerships forged that will achieve other amazing things. But just as much, I look forward to thanking the Rotarians who administered the vaccines that saved the children, who reached into their pockets to fund the infrastructure and the efforts, who advocated and agitated and communicated and campaigned right until the very end, and then who stood together proudly in a polio-free world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What an inspirational way to end our official program.